Hello, welcome to the first medium Linux machine. It's sort of a difficult box, but it does get you through it if you know sort of where to look. But yeah, that's the thing with every box, right? I have to say it was quite inaccurate with an exploit you have to provide it with, but you can figure out with some trial and error, but it does take some time. But it does feature a worksuite application, and worksuite is a sort of collection of modules, so you can create your own WSGI Python web application, which features a sort of debug console, but first you have to provide a pin. There's an exploit, and this exploit actually is needed inside the CPTS course as well. I'm not sure if I can say it, but I think there's some resemblance in it in the exam as well. So let's just get started. If you run an mmap scan, you can see there's only two ports open. First one being SSH, showing that's in Ubuntu with the 8.9 P1 version. Nothing really special. Then we have the website, which features a redirect to HTB superpass that hacked the box. So you have to add it to your host file, just to make sure you can access it. And once you go to the page, you will be prompted with, actually this is not the way you will be prompted. You will be prompted to a sort of general page, which doesn't feature that many clickable things. You just have a get started, and you actually have to register a user. And I haven't tried SQL injecting, but first of all, I just want to log in and see what my options are before I try to do, for example, some SQL injection. I just want to see, what is possible. Immediately, if I do this, I get this sort of weird thing. I can already see there's some SQL alchemy. There's something wrong with this, right? Like, why am I being sort of greeted to this page? And if you go back, you can actually see it might just work. Because they're saying, sorry, I've already made this user. They're going to refresh the page over and over. So I'm just going to make a cat. And you just have to register, and now it works. First of all, if you find something like this, it's going to be YouTube. User's going to be tuber, and then we have a password, which is good. I'm going to click enter, and it saved the password. I can export it, which just gives me a CSV file. It's not that sort of great looking. But you can always try to do some injection in here. So there's one sort of thing, which is STY. It's a server-side template injection. So it's just going to try against some basic SQL, PHP, like any sort of injection you can imagine. And this is basically the string we're going to try it on. So we're just going to add one in every single field, add it, and we can see if we sort of export it. It just works like normal, and you just show your results. So it's not really doing something specifically here, right? If I were to capture some of the traffic that we're doing and actually sort of connect this request, I'm not seeing anything here, as it's just doing a get on this one. Then it's doing a to client ping. I think this is something from some other side. And then we have a download actually, which is just going to send it to a repeater. I'm just going to see if there's something else. So I have some NX ping, which is not related to this website. And then we have some other stuff, which actually I'm not sure where it's coming from. I think it's from one of the pages I'm running. So this is all not really that important. Once I go to the repeater tab and actually send this, we will see some results. It's going to be found a worksuite debugger. Okay, so if I were to go to this page, for example, this one, and I think it should find it for you, I think. So if I were to just go here and have the spacing correct, it should find it, but it's not, right? So what does it say? It doesn't exist. I see some Python thing here. You can click it, and then you're stuck with this thing, which I can't get out of. So I'm just going to force to reload the page. And immediately, if you try to download something like this, you can see you're doing a GET request on a file or in your own system. So immediately, if you do something like /etc/password, which is on default on any Linux system, you might be greeted with something like no such file directory /tmp. So it's already showing where you're in, and then also the path you're at. So to get out of this, like this is our input, we have to add a ... here, right? So that's the exact thing I'm going to do, ... and then now you should be able to read whatever file you put into this, right? This doesn't have to be a particular issue on its own. Well, I mean, it's an issue, but if we can't sort of escalate this to a sort of remote shell, we can't really use it. So if you just connect this back to this worksuite application, you can see we have this console debugger. And there are some exploits which feature how to sort of get this debug pin. So this is the debug console bypass. This just clones a Docker directory, so can you try it for yourself? But the thing you need is going to be down here. So this one is going to be, this is basically going to be the code. So we're just gonna have to try it. So if we open up this, where is it? Bypass.py. I'm just gonna copy it. Where is it? Copy, raw file. I'm gonna go to my page. I'm gonna do fame exploit.py. I'm just gonna copy it inside and just quit it because I want to look at other documentation first, because it shows you, or at least it says here, if you go to documentation, I set it somewhere, you will see how it works. So if I just search for debug, here's the debug. So it's getting this environment pin. But this is basically the source code. So if you think like, where can I find this? What is it doing? It's going to say the private bits are going to be string uid.get node and get machine ID. Okay. And it's going to hash it. And then we have some cookie name, which is going to work. Okay, that seems quite easy. The only thing you have to take note of, which they also showcased, is the way they sort of loop through these things. So you see here, to generate this thing, they have a list. So it's going to try to read machine ID and it's going to try to read this random boot ID. If the first one works, it's just going to use it and escape it. It's going to break. If it doesn't work, it's going to try the second one. And then it's going to add it with proc self C group. And it's going to strip it until slash. And I believe this one is just going to be some name. And those are basically it for the private bits. So we can exit out of this. And let's just go through our exploit.py. All right, so we have a username, mod name, flask thingy. Right, so these are the public bits, and you can find some of this information inside of your output here. So we could be any of these, but you want to know what it is running as. And if you want to know like what user I'm running as on the system, you can actually have some paths connected to it. So one is going to be in proc, and a lot of information is going to be in proc. And Veron, this is going to be my username. And it's not doing that. Let's try it, send it again. Okay, now I'm not sure why it's sometimes working, sometimes not. But you see your, where is it? User is going to be data. So I'm just going to go through my thing and I'm going to insert, I can't replace this. Stuck. Okay. I'm messing something up. All right, it's going to be data. Then we have flash.app. And the mod name is difficult to guess, but if you go to some how to crack it, these are the options. So we can do some trial and error on this. Just to not get back into what we have to do here. I know it's going to be flask.app with the WSGI app. It's going to be one of those. I'm just going to fill that in. And how do I know it? Because I've done it before. And I just want to sort of go through it sort of quickly. And we see this get attribute. You can search inside of sort of see if you can find this file. So we can actually try that. If I just go here and get exploit, I'm not sure how to copy in Vim, so that's why I'm exiting out of this one. If we go into here and actually sort of put this inside of here, you should see the information if you try to query this. You're seeing it gets an attribute error because you don't know this exact location or if we're even using Python 3.9. The way you can actually notice, if you go to the web page and you see this error, you see this file app fenolib Python 3.3. I'm stuck. I'm just going to copy this. This is the exact thing it's running, and it's just showing you the error, like how it's not working. So we're just going to go here. I'm just going to remove this whole thing if I can remove it. It is some annoying. I'm not sure how to do it with with this. I just capitalize things. I'm not like a particular Vim pro, so this is something I have to work on. Insert this one. So these are the public bits, and we can't change those. Next, it's helping you. The string is going to be uid.get node. The way you can get this, I believe it's just how do we get this again? Oh, it's going to be sysclass net enc. Okay. This is going to be the system class and a net software network, and then we have some interface. I know for sure this is not using enc33. So what we're going to do, we're going to go here, and we're just going to go into the proc again. So we've proc net arp like this, and then this will show you what you're using. So we are using Ethernet 0. Now that I know I'm using Ethernet 0, you can actually make a more detailed thing to whatever you're using. So it's going to be the sys class net Ethernet 0 and an address. And you should get some MAC address of the interface. Why is it not? Again, maybe. Sys class net Ethernet. Oh, sorry, Ethernet 0. this should be it. There we go. And this is the MAC address. And if you want to look up a MAC address, basically the first 3 points are going to be for the sort of manufacturer, and the other 3 are going to be different per sort of, I think it's user, but I'm not sure how it works. Right. The way you can sort of do this, they reveal it with htruud.get node, but we aren't on the system, so we have to do this ourselves. We can actually do a Python 3 with the command of printing this value. This is basically hex. So what we're going to have to do, we're going to have to do 0x, and then we're going to remove these. And this gives us some decimal value, which I believe is the good one. So we're just going to go into our exploit apply again. We're going to go here, and I just want to see if it's around the same length. So I'm just going to try to remember. So it's going to be here. Okay, it's one shorter maybe. Oh, we're just going to try. And remember how it did this, right? So it's going to try machine ID, and then it's going to try the random boot ID. So you don't need all 3 of these. Let's just get the machine ID first. And it's already revealing where we can find it. So we're just going to do etc/machine ID. And this is going to be the value, which I'm just going to have to copy here. And then I'm just going to go here and delete this like this. All right. Okay. Okay. And then we just need to proc self C group. So that's just what I'm going to ask. And I had to do some trial and error on this one because this is the control group. And you're going to get a big string, but for some reason you only need to do it after slash because it did the, or was it? Well, okay, like I show you, it did the slash digest thingy. So what I want to do is only pack superpass that service. Okay, I have to do some trial and error on this, so don't quote me on this. Insert this one. That should be it, I think. So we're just gonna run the Python 3 exploit apply, and we get some pin. I'm just gonna try this. Go to the web page, and let's actually try to access this one. And you see you get no error, and you see some console already. So if I were to now do print 1, it should print 1, which is the exact thing it's doing. Now you could try to sort of import sys and get some information out of here, but I think the easiest thing is to do a Python reverse shell. So if I were to just go through Python reverse shell, let's see what we get. Actually, I'll prefer this one. So this is going to be the Pentas monkey. I have something here. This is Python normal, so I'm going to have to change it. It's already in Python, so I'm just going to copy this. It doesn't go more to the left. Why not? Does it copy to the end? Not sure. Don't think it's doing that. Wait, maybe it is. I think it's done. Wait, let me see. No, it's not even starting the sub process. Let me copy everything. Just go to kwrite. Here, this one. Let me see. All right, so we don't need this, and I don't need these. Okay, so we have imports, and we have socket. Subprocess, this is going to be my IP address. It's going to be 10.10.14.9. I see it in my top left. 1, 2, 3, 4 is fine. I think these are all fine. So let me just start a netcat listener on netcat and LVP 1, 2, 3, 4. Just go to the website, and we have to go to this one, and we have to just print it. Not sure if it's doing anything. Yeah, so we get a shell back, and you can see who we are. Well, first of all, I just want to run ls where I am. PWD, I'm in app. I prefer to go to the main directory and see what's here, and you can see already some config, so that looks really interesting. So let's just cat config prod.json. And this was one of the easiest passwords sort of available here. So I'm just going to have to copy this. And I'm going to do I'm just going to try to go into the MySQL thing, right? So MySQL, okay, I'm really not sure why this is happening, but for some reason, if I provide a password, so I'll do, for example, MySQL user superpass user with a password, it's just not doing anything until I do like a correct one. So I just see show databases and I do something and it errors out, and then it's going to throw me the output. I'm not sure why it's doing this, but we're going to use superpass. I did the wrong. I just should you. Oh, damn it. This is so annoying. Let's just do MySQL user superpass user with password. I should copy this. Yeah. Okay, then we're gonna use super pass. I don't want to make mistakes. And I'm gonna do show. Wait, I didn't do this. Show tables. Maybe it shows it. And then this one, and then it shows me. Okay, so now it's doing it. MySQL user super pass user with a password. And I'm gonna use super pass, and then we're gonna select star from passwords with them. Nice. Okay, so we actually get something, which is pretty cool. I'm just gonna have to copy everything, I think. Hack the box, model. Right, I'm just gonna copy these two, but I want to have all the information, so I'm just gonna create a new one. This is community theme creds.txt. And there's a really good way of how you can sort of delete up until this point. No, I'm not sure. What I'm gonna do, as at least I know what is the option, is you can just use SSH to quorum with this password. So I'm just gonna do SSH quorum to quorum at agile.hackthebox. Oh, sorry, it's superpass.hackthebox. Superpass.hackthebox. Yes, password. And then we should be on the system, and we can actually cat the user.txt. This is going to be the first lateral movement. There's going to be different ones, but I have to go do some an interview, so I'm just going to have to quit and leave this for now. So I'll be right back. Some numerous enumeration. What you see now, we have some files. For example, this fenv, which is root owned, but dev admin can write to it. And then there's more files, and you see something else which wasn't there before, which I believe is this app testing. So I'm just going to go into app testing. Sorry, app testing. And then we have the tests, and then there is cd functional, and we have the test side. What you see here, I'll just do less on test side. There's no less, we'll just go through it. What you see here, if we just start at the top, we import Selenium, and it's important to take note of like what is being imported, because if it's some package which has a known exploit, you can try to use it. In this case, OS, PyTest, Time, and Selenium. Then we open this creds. This is also interesting because we have a remote debugging port, which, you know, it might be active just like the workzug one, you know, which we can try to access. And other than that, I see some test login with just password, which doesn't seem to be too interesting. It could be interesting, but not as of right now. So immediately the most important thing you note is this port, which is open. And, you know, I don't know how this website is running, so I might try to look at how the file is structured inside of the Nginx file. So it's size available. And it's going to be something, and it's probably going to be superpass test. Let's be honest here. You see it's running on localhost port 555. So let's just do a curl 127.0.0.1 on port 555. I can definitely see a website. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to have to port forward this. And the way you would like to sort of do this is you can port forward this website. But you want to forward the debugging application because that offers you a sort of way to interact with it in Selenium, because that's the one we're going to use. So we're just going to have to exit out of this one. And what you want to do, you want to create this SSH thing, but you want to create some port forward here. So what I'm going to do is going to be 41829, I believe the port was. And then you have to do like whatever the thing is, and it's going to be localhost. It's the same as 127.0.0.1. And then you have to choose the same port again, because we're just going to visit it on this port as well. So this one is not resolving. Why not? Oh, sorry. I didn't specify the port thing. Ooh, to be honest, I hope I have got this password in memory. Okay, that's great. I got a memory. So now if we just go to Selenium, it's Chromium. I think it's the same thing. There should be something. I think it's called Chrome Inspect. There we go. I've already added it, but you have to go to configure and enable port forwarding. I believe that's the thing you want to do. And if you now go to inspect, you will see some the test user. This is the debugging port, so you can also try to do it in the port 555 one, but we're just doing this one. And you can see it's not really doing anything. Just fault works, internal server error. Okay, there we go. You can actually see some password for Edwards. I can't copy it, so I'm just going to have to select it over this one and paste this one. If I now go back to my shell, sorry, here, I'll just exit out of this, see if it works. And I'll just do a normal connection because I had some trouble with it before. Then I, of course, don't have the password anymore. We're just gonna have to log in, and what we will then use is etc password and see what the user is called. So su Edwards, so he's there, that's good, and we're just gonna provide a password. And now we're Edwards, which is pretty cool. So the thing you always want to check is like, where am I, and what is my ID, and what is gonna be my pseudo rights. Those are the basic things you want to do. And in this case, we actually have something. So we can actually look in this. So I'm just gonna do a quick, it's gonna be sudo, I believe. And then we have to do a user as dev admin, because we can run that as this user, right? And then sudo edit, which just brings us to the MySQL. I've looked in this database, there's nothing there, so we're not really interested in that one. I'm also gonna do the same thing for this sudo edit one. So I'm just gonna go here and change this, should be it, sudo edit this one. And you can see some credentials, but I'm not sure where, but I can't really use it. The next step is just check sudo version, and you actually will come across 1.9.9. If I'm gonna look for sudo edit 1.9 exploit, you can also do 1.9.9. You will find some sudo edit bypass in sudo, and it feels like quite a sophisticated attack, but what it's doing is you can write to files which are group owned by the user you own, and that's because you use these double hyphens. So you can just basically after that do any sort of command you want in there. I believe that's the sort of way to go about it. You just need a file that's going to be group owned by you and is owned by the root. All right, I had to do some more debugging because it wasn't working before. But what we're essentially doing now is we're just going to try to exploit this vulnerability inside of the sudo edit version 1.9 and below a bit, I believe, 1.9.9 and below. And what it's essentially doing is this is like the thing that gets executed. What happens with these two hyphens, it expects any editor, and you can actually put any command here. I believe that's the thing that's happening. The thing is you do have to access a file that it's root owned, so it's going to get executed by a root user, and you have to sort of find a way to edit it. I find this one, so it's app.vinv activate. As you can see, it's trying to source it, and this is a lay on test and update. You can see it's root owned, and almost like anyone can write to it, at least we can. So we can just choose, I hope I have it here, so this one. So what we're doing essentially is the same. We have these two hyphens, so we're gonna edit it. We're gonna edit this file, and then we need to edit it using this sudo edit u dev admin, because these are the only two commands we can run as a user. If we run this, you want to go down. For some reason I can't go down yet, but we can just stay at the top, it's fine as well. And we want to insert some code here. So you can try, for example, a reverse shell. One of the easy ways to do is by saying bash with a command, and then you have to do it inside these two semicolons things. That's not semicolon, just a colon thing. And then we're going to run interactively. We're going to write the output to /dev/gcp/10.10.14.9, which is going to be us, on port 9001. And then you have to do the standard output to get redirected to you. This is what we're going to run. Before I quit this, actually I'm just going to do it rather quickly. I hope it's working. I'm just going to go through this one and just start a netcat listener on port 9001, and I'm just going to go back here. So it should have edited it unchanged. Not sure if I'm meant to see that. I don't know, I'm just going to go back to my other shell to... Hey, did we get something? Yeah, so we got something. And this way you can actually get the root flag, so it's going to be root.txt. This is how you get it, and the way it works, if you look at this exploit as well, for some reason they explained it better in this exploit, but you can actually, why I'm not sure, right here it is. However, the later relies on the presence of that hyphen argument to determine the list of files to edit. The injection of extra -- argument in one of the authorized environment variable can alter this list and lead to privilege escalation by editing any other files with privilege to run as user. So by inserting this -- you can actually sort of edit any files which get run. And because this is being run like at probably every minute because it's being sourced, this is like a global, I think it's a global environment variable, I believe, because you will find your own one in etc/bash, and then there's .bash rc. I believe this one is also not supposed to be in your system. I can look at it if I want to look on my own system. So I'll go, for example, to a new one and try it. It's not standard there, so this has been added, and this is something you have to sort of find, which was quite hard. But yeah, that was basically the video.